Look at that. Hey guys, AJ here back with another one for you. So guys, we all know what I say about a red pill. Guys, red pill is about choice. Having the knowledge to make an informed choice. You know? Now guys, past the red pill, you have MGTOW, you have black pill, and a lot of millennials, Gen X guys are just straight up MGTOW, man. They are not playing around. They have separated themselves, or they're black pill, or they're just not even dealing with it, right? And guys, here's a video from a newer content creator, right? And this is a really, really, really good video. He calls himself Jacob Whelan, and I will put the link to his channel, guys. Go over and support him. But he's going to tell us why he's given up on getting married and starting a family. So we'll get into this. Before we do, like, subscribe, drop a comment. I have a second channel called 50 and 304s. Guys, consider becoming a member. Just hit the join button. Join my Discord. Check out the playlist at the end. And guys, the most important decision that a man can make, the two most important, is who and if they decide to marry, and who and if they decide to have kids with, right? So who they decide to marry, if they decide to marry, and if they decide to have kids, and who they have kids with, right? Those are the two biggest pitfalls in a man's life. Guys, I'm never having kids, you know? Ever, 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 you know? Guys, I know guys that have been divorced and just got cooked in divorce. So it makes sense to me why so many men don't want to get married. Guys, let's get into this.
Always assumed I'd get married, have kids, start a family. That's actually one of the reasons why I built this house as big as it is. It's over 3,000 square foot because I figured that if I'm going to have a family, I need someplace to put them. But over the years, my mindset on that has completely changed. I'm 40 years old now, and I've basically given up on the idea of starting a family. And there's a few reasons for that. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of guys out there that can relate to this, and that's why I'm making this video, because it has become increasingly difficult for a guy to confidently go into a relationship and be okay with getting married, having kids, and starting a family. One of the primary reasons for me, aside from the fact that I'm 40 years old now and I'm kind of stuck in my ways, but I decided several years ago that the idea of having a family is pretty much not going to happen. Because, number one, there's a lot of crazy indoctrination that's going on with kids and stuff these days in schools. The stuff they're teaching kids is just freaking abhorrent, and I do not agree with any of it. They're pushing all these sexual agendas and all these crazy ideologies in schools now. And when you're a parent and you're sending your kid off to school, you know, that's all this time that you don't have with the kid, because it's up to you as a parent to shape your kid into the person you want them to become, and to teach them right from wrong, and essentially protect them from all the things that you don't want them to see. But when they're in school, you can't do that. And the only alternative to that is private schooling or homeschooling. But then, you know, with homeschooling, you're taking your kid away from the social interaction and all the things they be learning when they're in school, as far as how to socialize with people, how to make friends, how to deal with people in general, and that's a very important part of life. So it's kind of a give or take. But, you know, for me, the idea that my kid's going to be stuck in school, learning all this crazy stuff, and not getting the proper education, especially not the education that I would like to see them get, which would be like critical thinking, life skills, finance, money, skill trade, all these very important things in life that they really don't teach in school. So that was a big thing for me. And
guys, he's absolutely correct. You know? Let's give him a round of applause. And guys, what he should also be saying here is, oftentimes women are so into this gender ideology stuff that they would insist that the kid learn this. So if you do get married and you have kids with a chick, she would be okay with having your child learn all this LDHGT TV stuff and giving you hell for railing against it, you know?
Just the direction of the world, the crazy way the world was going for a while, and kind of still is in a way. I couldn't imagine bringing a kid up in that, because I myself find it hard enough to navigate sometimes. I went through a bunch of crazy stuff with my health. I know all about suffering and what it's like to feel completely lost, hopeless, have no sense of direction, no purpose. You can't find meaning in life. And, you know, I've suffered from anxiety and depression and all these horrible things. And that was hard for me. So the idea that I would have a kid and bring them up in this crazy world and possibly have them suffer through a lot of the same crazy things that I suffered through is just something that I decided I'm not willing to live with. And another big reason is because as a guy, you know, going into a relationship, getting married and stuff, it comes with a lot of risk. And it's no fault of our own. It's no fault of the male or the female sex. It's the way the court system's set up. It's the way our society is geared in general. It's geared in favor of the woman. If a family gets divorced, most of the time the woman's going to come out on top. And as somebody who has established a very good life for myself, I'm financially secure, I'm debt free, I own my own home, I've accomplished a lot of fantastic things in my life. So going into a relationship and getting married comes with a significant amount of risk.
And he's right, guys, right? All the same things us red pill guys say. Then all these blue pills, all these simps, all these beta. They're like, oh man, you guys gotta talk about marriage and relationships because you're misogynist. And then they end up getting got, right? 100% correct. This guy is cooking. You know what I'm saying?
That's true for me and pretty much every other guy out there. And again, it's no fault of our own. It's just the way society is geared. They've made it a point to destroy the nuclear family, to tear the family unit apart, and I think it's all by design. I don't think they want us to have a strong family unit, and it seems like everything in our modern society is set up that way. When you get a divorce, pretty much all your stuff goes to the woman, or at the very least gets split 50-50. And if you've worked your entire life, especially as a guy being the provider, to provide all this stuff for your family, and if you come into that relationship having a lot of things and having established a very good life for yourself, you could have all that stripped away. And in a lot of cases, it could be borderline impossible to ever get that back. Because
and you get punished for providing, because once they look at custody, they're going to say, oh, well, who was around the child more, right? Well, the father wasn't around the child as much because he was out working. Absolute clown world.
Because again, the guy is usually stuck paying child support or alimony or both. So his wages now become significantly less, and his ability to regain all the things that he's lost, especially if he's at the midpoint in his life or later in life, because the way the career field is set up is that it favors young, impressionable men or young, impressionable people in general. Because when you have an older person coming into the workforce, especially trying to start a new career, they have old habits. And a lot of companies don't want to try and train those old habits out of a person. They would rather hire somebody young that they can train from the ground up, that's going to show up to work bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They're going to have energy. They're going to last many, many years in the workforce. And taking on an older person can just, in a lot of cases, be a liability. And another terrible thing that often happens, especially in family court, is that the dad ends up going from being 100% dad, he's there for his family all the time, to all of a sudden you get a divorce and he becomes a 15% dad.
Yep.
And the thought that I would...
And guys, and all of a sudden, his 304 ex-wife, right? All of a sudden she brings another man in the house. She has friggin' Gavin and Nug Nug around your kids. Insane.
Wouldn't be able to see my kid every single day or whenever I wanted, and I would be granted visitation rights like I'm some sort of criminal. It is a terrifying thought. And another big reason is just because I am a result of not only my own life experiences, but of the life experiences that occur around me. And I've seen this stuff happen time and time again.
Me too.
There are very few people in my life that have stayed successfully married throughout their entire lives and haven't had happen a lot of the things that I just mentioned. And as somebody who has spent half their life building this life for myself and making it as secure as possible and setting myself up in the best way that I possibly can, the thought of having that stripped away because of divorce is something I am just not willing to live with. It's a risk I'm not willing to take. And don't get me wrong.
Guys, there are guys who delete themselves over this. Or they'll go and delete their ex-wife. You know what I'm saying? Work all this time. You know, guys in the military do their full career. Whatever. You your full career at the plant, whatever, if she gets half, when she gets the house, she gets all of your money and half of your pension too? You know? Come on.
Wrong. Like my parents, they're still happily married. They've been married my entire life. They'll never get divorced. I've got family members that are still happily married. They were married their entire lives and they never got divorced. A lot of this stuff didn't happen for them. But for the younger generation, I see it time and time again. And it seems like the odds of somebody having a happy, healthy relationship, staying married and not having all these horrible things happen is getting more and more rare. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think social media plays a huge role in that.
Yep.
We all get focused on the next shiny object syndrome. You know, something nice, new, and fancy comes along, and we want to trade up. All of a sudden, what we have isn't good enough. We're led to believe we need all this nice stuff, and everybody's perception of everyone else's lives online is that everybody's living this perfect life.
Now, guys, let's pump the brakes here. He's saying us, but guys, we all know who falls for this social media thing more than anyone else, and that's women. They're the ones that are constantly comparing their lives to other people's, and they're the ones who want all the shiny stuff and pay attention to all the influencers. Us men, not so much. How many videos have I done, guys, on these chicks that, you know, said that they divorced their husband because of TikTok, right? And then they're crying because they left their husband for no reason and thought that the grass would be greener, and then they realized there's no grass, right? After letting Nug shoot up the club first, you know?
You only see the highlights on these Instagram reels, and on social media, you never see the ups and downs. So your expectations become exponentially higher. And then when it comes to things like sex and intimate relationships, we expect so much more because we've been watching porn and we see all this crazy, you know, these crazy sexual experiences on TV, and everybody's cheating on their husbands and wives, and we just think that's the way it should be. So when it comes to going in the bedroom, we have these super high porn star expectations that can never be met. We objectify the opposite sex. We think that it has to be some crazy, awesome experience every time we have an intimate relationship. But what we've done is we've hyper-stimulated ourselves with all this content and all this media that throughout all of history we would have never had access to. And it's completely rewired and screwed up our brains. That's the bottom line, is that the stuff we're exposed to is not natural. The stuff that we see is not stuff that we should be seeing, especially not in the amounts that we're seeing it. We're not meant to have this level of pleasure and dopamine hits and instant gratification in the way that we do in the modern age. And that
Yep, and guys, yep, he's right. And that's why a lot of guys are checking out. You know? Guys, us men walking away, men minding their own business is the ultimate way to avoid all of this, right? Because, guys, there's no laws that we're going to change. There's no movement we can do. All we can do is be red-pilled, you know, make the best decision possible for ourselves. Because he didn't tell a single lie at all. You know? So I'll leave the link to this video and this guy's channel in the description. Make sure you guys head over here, drop him a follow. This is the first half. I'll probably cover this entire video on a live stream, you know, because he's not telling any lies. Guys, let me know what you think. But all right, you guys, this is AJ. I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, and guys, I am out of here. Have a good one.